Even though the cost of educating prisoners is less than the cost to house prisoners, the federal government decided to get rid of the educational programs in 1994 by outlawing the Pell Grant for prisoners. Mass incarceration is big business. That is why the focus is on locking up people rather than educational programs that will help them remain in society. I'm Eddie Conway, Baltimore native, former Black Panther, activist, and Army veteran. Author, poet, and playwright Lisa Jessie Peterson taught adolescent boys for 20 years at Rikers Island Academy.
It helps with youth development. It helps them with critical thinking. It helps them tap into their voice. It helps them to self-identify in a creative way. One of the things that I was really focused on, not just in my poetry workshops, but specifically as a Board of Ed teacher, was to make sure that they got knowledge of self. So they had a firm understanding of who they are as young African American men and women in this country, knowing their history, knowing who the Black Panthers are, knowing who Marcus Garvey is, knowing Malcolm X, just certain figures that they could identify with that gave them a sense of identity.
Liberation Literacy in Portland extends their education program to families left at home with programs like the Black Parent Initiative,
which is basically twofold. One, it's got a situation where we provide some books, books that are minority-centered, children's books that we send out to parents, to children of incarcerated parents that are part of our group, and otherwise. Like, you don't have to be part of our group to get to be part of the Black Parent Initiative. You could just be a guy that says, hey, I want my kids to receive some books. And we'll find the ages, find the books that are appropriate, and send them out. You get to pick yourself which ones you want. So having something to send them, so it's not just like we have a conversation on the phone. It's like, I'm going to send you this book. It's really cool. Let's talk about Mandela, especially my little one. My little one is 5. She was 4 at the time. Little kid, well, Daddy, tell me about Africa. Okay, so I start talking about this. But then I'm like, I'm going to send you this book, and you're going to read about this. So I sent a few books and stuff like that. And that kept our relationship interesting, because it's hard to hold the attention of kids on the phone when you're not part of their everyday life. I mean, they'll tell you a little bit about what they want, they did, and then they're done. And so I had to create some kind of relationship that, they're a little intellectual. So like creating what I was doing and then involving them in what I was doing helped maintain that.
So it's called Liberation Literacy, and it's a program that started at a minimum security prison in Portland, Oregon, a year ago. And really it was about starting a weekly racial justice reading group with inside students, and then bringing in community members with the intent of really rethinking the way that we think about community.
Friend of a Friend is a collaboration between the American Friends Service Committee and prisoners inside the Maryland prison complex. I was a co-founder of the program along with Dominic Stevenson and Soldier, whom we talked to.
His curriculum was based on alternative violence, and the whole jet set about thing was when people separate after confrontation, everybody must leave with a win-win, a sense of win-win. And it's one of the programs that since I've been out, I've seen 2 of the young guys that passed through the program who started a janitorial business right now. And anybody who need a job, they will hire. And the young guy that got the little food truck. So some tough young kids come through there, but now they're on positive notes and they're moving on up.
Friend of a Friend aids prisoners in all aspects of their lives, particularly resolving conflicts effectively.
When you profess to be a revolutionary or you profess to be in a struggle, and you have so many multiple organizations that say that this is what they are too, the Friend of a Friend program actually gives you that stage to be that.
And I think what Friend of a Friend does is creates a necessary sense of family and community for folks that they need. That's what's lost when people go into prison. People are disconnected from their families, they're disconnected from community. What we built in the prison system is a community, and we built essentially what is like a brotherhood and a sisterhood, because I'm in it.
Prison budgets focus on punishment rather than rehabilitation. Follow the money. The prison system in the United States is a $182 billion cost to taxpayers annually. Hundreds of corporations like Victoria's Secret and AT&T profit off of prison labor. Some corporations, like global Tel-Link, even exploit the families of prisoners. The phone company charges $17 for a 15-minute phone call and make more than $500 million a year. Philosophy professor Drew Leaders has been teaching in Maryland prisons for several decades.
Because one of the things about the prison system is it makes people disappear. It silences their voices. The general public does not know what goes on behind those walls and those bars, the amount of abuse, but they also don't know the talent and the intellect of the people who are being confined in prison. The country as a whole has kind of flipped toward that model of punishment rather than rehabilitation, even though, as you say, it's really inefficient and really ineffective. Every dollar that's spent on prison education, according to this Rand Institute study, saves $4.5 spent on other costs associated with imprisonment. And one way to view prison education is it's not really a benefit for prisoners alone, it's a benefit for the larger society because it's a really proven crime prevention program. So it's about keeping the community safe, not just giving some special benefit to the criminal.
There is that need that people have for a sense of community. They're coming from communities that have been destroyed by the war on drugs, by the loss of jobs and deindustrialization, by the prison system. And so I think that while those programs are important, they have to be coupled with programs that really deal with the trauma that individuals have experienced, programs that deal with the human being. I think that in order for people to really come out more whole, there needs to be a holistic approach to how they are treated within the prison system.
While the prison industrial complex receives hundreds of billions of dollars every year, very little of that money is spent on education and rehabilitation because the prison industrial complex wants prisoners to return back to the prison system. We don't take corporate funds, we don't take government funds, we don't take advertisement. And the only way we can bring you programs like this is with your support.